Good morning, everyone. Honorable Dr. Justice Ashok Bihinchagiri, sir, Chairman of the Law Commission of Karnataka and former Judge of the High Court of Karnataka, Sri T. Balan, CEO, Center for E-Governance, Government of Karnataka, Dr. Kaliraj Naidu, Director, National Cyber Security Research Council, and all the distinguished experts from the cybersecurity community, representatives from government, industry, academia, and members of the National Cyber Security Council. I feel very fortunate to be here amongst all of you. I think this conference is something which is the need of the hour, I must say. I want to thank the National Cyber Security Research Council for bringing all of us, that is the decision makers from government, business, advocates, legal representatives, technology leaders, researchers, cybersecurity practitioners to discuss and debate one of the biggest issues we are all facing today, that is the cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is not just limited to a the department of IT or something like that. It's not a technical problem alone. I think based on this, we are now bringing the kind of building the national security. It can affect the national security, the economic stability, and also the trust as a whole. I think even Pubalan just spoke about how any governance related initiatives, how much trust of the citizen matters in this. So in fact, every digital transaction, every online service, every device that connects to the internet all rely on having confidence in the security, resilience, and reliability of the system. So India is, as we all know, is one of the fastest digital transforming country. We have seen a sea change of digital transformation happening in our country. For example, we all know about Digital India, the digital payment system that has been developed through UPI, Aadhaar-enabled services, digital governance through e-governance platforms, and the extensive implementation of digital public infrastructure. I think we are one of those countries which have really built our digital infrastructure, public digital infrastructure. In fact, Aadhaar are seen as one of the huge projects, probably second to none. I think this is one of the pioneering project we have done, established and implemented it well in our country with 140 billion, one fifth or nearly of the human race. That is the kind of scale this has. Similarly, UPI, we all know the kind of transactions that happen, and then huge amount of transformation which has happened eventually. Every little corner we can see UPI being used for all the digital payments, any vegetable vendors, any small payments. That is a huge thing, probably not replicated anywhere else in the world. These are like pioneering examples India can be proud of. So all these have been enabled through significant improvement, and all this has ultimately yielded. It has shown that digital technologies or digital infrastructure or these digital solutions are very accessible, very efficient, and also brought in a lot of transparency in our governance. Karnataka can't be left behind. Karnataka, like we know, is the innovation capital and also the digital capital of the world. We call ourselves Silicon Valley, but we have progressed a lot since those days, and a lot of sea changes have happened here also. We are, of course, like our moderator just explained. I mean, we are the one of the startup capital, and the kind of startups and the innovation that we see here is unparalleled. In fact, we are 14th in terms of the startup global, ranking that we have. We probably we are the 14th, and no other Indian city figures here in the top 20 or 30 as far as I know. I mean, this is something we all have cherished and built. It's not built over a day or built over a year. This has been built consistently in the last 3 to 4 decades, and that is why we are here. So Karnataka is not far behind in our digital transformation, like I just mentioned, but at the same time, the kind of the ransomware and the cyber attacks and the financial frauds that has come with this is also something which is alarming. For example, just to give a perspective, in India in 2025, we've seen cyber frauds amounting to 19,000 crores. The year before that is even higher, it's about 22,000 crores. Likewise, when we take the states, compare the states, Maharashtra has had one of the largest, again, the digital frauds, which is about 3,000 crores, followed by Karnataka, which is about 2,400 crores. I'm just rounding up. Then Tamil Nadu third with 1,800, UP fourth 1,400, and Telangana 1,300. I mean, it's mind-boggling numbers that we see. I think recently all of us remember we saw a case where a particular person, a woman, I think, was defrauded over more than a year, in terms of 33 crores or something. It was scary. It was mind-boggling. It also leaves a question that how come somewhere somebody didn't get sensitized. I mean, it's not one instance, it was multiple instances this kind of digital transactions happened with her, and she couldn't realize. So it's quite a challenge. So amongst all this, we also further, this is further complicated. The fraud patterns, that the investment scams, job frauds, KYC requests, digital arrests, impersonations are getting more and more sophisticated. Now with AI, it is getting even difficult. So attackers are now able to create highly convincing phishing messages, deep fake audio, fabricated identities, etc., on an unprecedented scale. This is further complicating. I think even Bhubalan just mentioned how AI, in the realm of AI, we need to revisit, re-innovate, and re-understand things the way don't remain the way they were earlier. So everything is undergoing a transformation, and then we really need to gear up with this AI era. So coming back to, cybersecurity can't be the responsibility of government alone. I think everybody agrees with that. It requires a great collaboration between government agencies, technology companies, financial institutions, academic institutions, law enforcement agencies, civil society, and most importantly, citizens themselves. Organizations can easily adopt secure by design technologies, but ultimately it's the apart from that, it's also what is also required is a robust training and continuous awareness, and then robust cyber governance frameworks also are required. At the same time, I think individuals need to kind of practice cyber hygiene also, strong passwords, verification of their digital transactions, and timely reporting of any kind of suspicious activities. I mean, these are the things which citizens themselves can also support in turn, for their own sakes. Karnataka government is also, one of the pioneering state which has brought about the cyber security policy. In 2024 itself, the Department of Electronics, ITBT, launched the cyber security policy. This policy is a comprehensive framework to strengthen cybersecurity across government, industry, and academia. The policy focuses on key pillars, which include cybersecurity skilling and workforce development, support for cybersecurity startups and innovation, promotion of cybersecurity research and development, public-private collaboration, awareness and capacity building. All that we think should be the order of the day are incorporated in our policy. Further, we have another important initiative we have done in Karnataka is setting up a center of excellence for cybersecurity. We call it as CISEC Karnataka for short. This is set up in collaboration with Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. And this ISEC plays a critical role in conducting advanced cybersecurity research, supporting innovation, startup incubation, building industry partnerships, strengthening threat intelligence and analytics, and delivering specialized training programs. I was just mentioning even to Mr. Venkat just now how our cybersecurity excellence is a storehouse, or it's academic institution which is working on a lot of the relevant technologies. And right now we are focusing on a lot on hardware also. So our cybersecurity excellence is really a storehouse of a lot of information, a lot of technology, and I'm sure we'll all benefit by partnering with them. And that's the intention of the Cybersecurity Center of Excellence also. We need to reach out to the needs of the society, the industry, etc. It's not just in a silo where they just research and keep it to themselves. We also nurture a lot of startups which work on these kind of aspects in this regard, cybersecurity, hardware and software both. And a lot of our startups are being incubated there. And then this cybersecurity, which has the research and innovation capacity, is supporting them also. Apart from that, we also do a lot of hackathons, boot camps to encourage youngsters, young students in engineering colleges, and also the faculty development program. We just had a program for all the women faculty in northern part of Karnataka. It's a wonderful work that they are doing. So trying to build the cybersecurity awareness and technology collaboration also. This is something which we've been trying. So now coming back to our conference, of course, events like this National Cybersecurity Conference play a very important role in strengthening the cybersecurity ecosystem by enabling knowledge exchange, sharing best practices, fostering collaboration between government, industry, and academia, and encouraging innovation in cybersecurity solutions. As we move forward, our focus must remain on three priorities. Building a strong cyber resilience across institutions and infrastructure, developing a skilled cybersecurity workforce capable of responding to emerging threats, and strengthening collaboration to tackle cybercrime effectively. I think the Home Department in Karnataka also is strengthening itself. I think shortly they have set up a information disorder tracking unit, and that is being scaled up, which will have expertise, both not only hardware, software, but also people manning that, human resource which is manning that will be able to combat a lot of it. But then when I say this, fraudsters are always one step ahead of us. So that means we need to be really geared up. At the same time, every citizen also has to be sensitized about the cyber hygiene and being aware of all the kind of frauds that happen day in and day out. In conclusion, cybersecurity is not, like again reiterating, not simply technology, but it is protecting our society, safeguarding our economy, preserving the trust that citizens place in the digital systems. I once again congratulate National Cyber Security Research Council for organizing this important conference and bringing together such an esteemed gathering of experts and stakeholders. I'm confident that the discussions and insights emerging from this conference will contribute meaningfully to strengthening India's cybersecurity ecosystem. So let's all continue to work together to build a secure, resilient, and trusted digital future for our nation.